Search or read also about Shadow Jung. I've heard about Shadow Jung before, I think. Don't know where. Shadow Jung. What do we have here? Okay, I'm just gonna ask ChatGPT. Summarize Shadow Jung. Oh shit. Summarize Shadow Jung. Let's see what he can come up with. Maybe we can use his free text-to-speech. Yeah, I think after this I'm gonna end the stream because it's 3 hours already. So if there are any last questions, shoot them, and otherwise I'll be probably done after the this it's pretty slow. Ah, it's from Carl Jung. Okay, it's so slow. It's digging pretty deep, probably. Shadow is a term coined by Swiss psychologist Carl Jung to describe the parts of our personality that we repress or deny. According to Jung, the shadow is made up of our unconscious desires, fears, and impulses that we deem unacceptable or unworthy of expression. So, what I really like about this sentence already is the word expression. Especially because I like to observe expressions of people, behavior, language, emotions. I'm really looking for those kind of things in persons, if I can see them or if I can pinpoint them. He's feeling that way or he's thinking that way. But we repress or deny. So I think, yeah, it's pretty desire, fears, and impulses. So, so I don't know where insecurities would fit in. I guess they come from fears, but it might also be that, like, I can see how insecurities can arise from desires or impulses. So basically, desires, you're longing for a relationship with a girl, or you want to be the big earner. You have all these desires, but you don't feel like you can speak out about them. You don't feel like it's a good goal or whatever it is. You think people will criticize whatever you're thinking that, or your goals that you're setting is too stupid or not important enough. Fears is obviously what we talked about before: fear of failing, fear of losing, whatever. You have a lot of fears, and they're just there to show you what you find important in life. In life, I think 3 hours is getting to me. Fears are important to show you, okay, what do you hold dear and what are you afraid to lose. Impulses. Maybe I should ask it. What's the difference between impulses and desires? Because for me, impulses are pretty much desires on a shorter range. It's something that pops up in your head and you're like, oh, I want to do this. And desires are something that is manifesting in a longer period of time, I think. Impulse and desires are both related. I'm just gonna, this one is a quick one. It's easier for me to also just listen.
Impulses and desires are both related to our inner drives and motivations, but there are some key differences between them. An impulse is an immediate and often automatic reaction to a stimulus or situation. It can be a sudden urge or feeling that compels us to take action without thinking it through. For example, the impulse to reach out and grab a tempting piece of candy or to lash out in anger when feeling provoked. Desire, on the other hand, is a more complex and conscious experience that involves wanting something that we do not currently have. It often involves a longer-term goal or aspiration and may require planning, effort, and sacrifice to achieve. For example, the desire to build a successful career or to start a family. While impulses are typically more short-term and instinctual, desires tend to be more long-term and reflective of our values and priorities. Both impulses and desires can influence our behavior and decision-making. But being able to distinguish between them and understand their origins and effects can help us make better choices and achieve our goals.
So, what I find pretty interesting here is the definition for desire. A more complex and conscious experience. So I think impulses are a bit more unconscious. You don't really take note of them. You're not really aware of them, that you have them. They are there and you're acting upon them. And desire is something you're consciously working towards, or that you're aware of. So that's pretty interesting distinction. So unworthy of expression, I think this one is a big one, because a lot of people, especially in Belgium, I feel like are thinking too much about expression, how they act, how they think, what they should say, what is deemable to say, and a lot of it come back to the culture, I guess. But let's be honest, the Belgian culture, I don't know, it's pretty shit, in my opinion. I don't feel like we stand for a lot. We all act the same. We like the same things. I guess it's okay, but it's also kind of Sleepy Joe, if you know what I mean. You know, doesn't really aspire to be like a young entrepreneur or something. If you're born in Belgium, I don't know. Yeah, let's just add this also. I like the not reading for you guys because my voice is getting a bit tired.
Jung believed that by acknowledging and integrating our shadow, we can become more balanced and whole individuals. He also emphasized the importance of recognizing the shadow in others, as projection of our own shadow onto others can lead to misunderstandings and conflicts.
Also emphasized the importance of recognizing the shadows in others. Okay, so the clear distinction between what you have as insecurities and fears and whatever, and what other people have, can make for a better understanding of why a conversation or an interaction would go south, and which one led it to me. I don't know who's clopping on my door, but also it can distinguish between who's in fault, I would say, but fault is like a bad word, but basically who is making the situation weird or making it bad during interaction. So it all starts, I think, with knowing yourself. Like, obviously, if you know your shortcomings, if you know what your shadow is, then you can be more in balance with yourself. Like, I know I have these insecurities. I know that that I'm these tendencies toward addiction, and they sometimes still pop up. Like last time, like I said, with the financial decisions, I still lashed out to one of my friends because I thought he was saying something personal, but I just took it personal for no reason, and I calmed down and I just apologized. Okay, I was sorry. This was not on you. I kind of fucked up the situation, and then we just moved on from that. That's just how we get better and how we understand ourselves and others better.
In essence, the shadow represents the aspects of ourselves that we have disowned, but which still exert a powerful influence on our behavior and relationships. By acknowledging and embracing our shadow, we can gain a greater understanding of ourselves and achieve greater psychological and emotional health.
That's pretty much the same as before. I like the word disowned. Because I think it's kind of what happens. Like, we have these parts of ourselves that we don't want to affiliate with, we don't want to recognize them, we don't want to show them to other people, but they do exist in us. And how do you want to spin it or not? They're not going away. You can shrink them, you can put them away in a closet, you can hide them in the deepest corner that you want. Someday it will get out and it will be like, wait, how did this get out of my mouth? I would never want to say this. And that's, I think, why it is important what Jung says, like, we have to accept the full us and not disown some part of us, or not affiliate or acknowledge that we are part of that our shadow is part of us. And yeah, that's just how we grow as a person, indeed. So I think is it a book, Hugo? I don't know. Search, read also about Shadow Jung. Is it a book? So, Carl Jung, I think I've read a bit about him yet. It's his philosophy, I think. Just well, it's not just, but it's his main point, I think, in his philosophy, the shadow. That does not correspond with the ego ideal, leading the ego to resist and project the shadow. Shadow is the self's emotional blind spot. Tell me more about the shadow. Let's see what he can come up with, huh? Yeah, I know I'm being a bit lazy, Hugo, I'm sorry, but just interested in the moment, so I'm seeing what it can also accomplish for me, this AI. I like testing it. I've asked a lot of different stuff already, so...
The shadow is a term coined by Carl Jung to describe the unconscious parts of ourselves that we reject, deny, or repress.
We haven't talked
These
about
are the parts of our
yet.
psyche that we consider to be negative, shameful, or unacceptable, such as our fears, insecurities, aggressive impulses, or taboo desires.
Interestingly enough, he makes a distinction between fears and insecurity, so might not be the same. Let me just ask. Fear is a natural response to perceived threats or danger. Interesting. Securities can be triggered by various factors such as social companion. We talked about that. Yeah. Fear can also contribute to the development of insecurities. When we experience fear, our brains release stress hormones such as cortisol and adrenaline, which can activate flight. Interestingly enough, I did my master thesis on the fight or flight response, but yeah, it's for another topic. Trigger a range of physical and emotional reactions. These reactions can reinforce our insecurities and make us prone to negative self-talk or self-doubt. Okay, nothing too new about that. Where were we? I think this one is a bit new information. I'm kind of interested in the shadow. For maybe it's a better way of representing what I want to say. Maybe I just have to become
is not inherently bad or evil, but it can become a source of inner conflict and psychological distress when we refuse to acknowledge or integrate it. When we disown or project our shadow onto others, we may find ourselves judging or condemning them for qualities that we are unable to accept in ourselves.
Okay. I don't think it's the inherently bad or evil. I think we already talked about that. By becoming aware, indication can have a deep level of self-knowledge. Common ways of working with shadow include exploring our dreams, fantasies, projections, examining our personal values and beliefs, and engaging in creative exploration. Okay. The shadow work can be challenging and sometimes uncomfortable. It requires us to confront aspects of ourselves that we may prefer to ignore or suppress. However, the rewards of embracing and integrating our shadow can lead to a greater inner freedom, authenticity, and emotional well-being. Yeah, I cannot disagree with this because it's a philosopher. No, I'm just kidding. I wish we talked more about taboos today, maybe. But I think it's a topic on itself already. So maybe we're just gonna leave it with this.